What's up guys, Will here, and for those of you who are new, you must realize something. I do all my videos in one take, so prepare for the madness that ensues. You'll see nothing like this unless you've seen like another person do everything in one take in the last couple days. Anyhow, here we go. Today I want to talk about fame and why it's not as great as it seems. So a lot of you, especially younger kids who are in middle school, high school, they want to be famous. If they could, they would want to be as famous and successful as One Direction or Justin Bieber, and they would love to be famous. And if they had a chance, they would probably do it. They'd probably become a singer and become famous, or an actor and become famous, and then they'd figure out it's not as great as it seems. But I'm here today to end that notion right there and then, so you will feel happier about your life, and so you don't feel depressed all the time about not being famous. Now, I was kind of just like you for a while, and then I started learning stuff about life. Specifically, towards the start of December of 2012, last year, I was getting a haircut, and my hair cutter, we got into a conversation of fame, and I asked him, would you want to be famous if you could? And he said something that pretty much explains it right there, which I never really, made an effort to clearly understand or realize, and that was, no way. Fame comes with a price. And, a clear example was Michael Jackson, and I'll leave it at that. Mike was a great entertainer, performer, but he could rarely go anywhere without being harassed. I'm sure Justin Bieber's kind of like that too. He probably can't go anywhere without being harassed by fans and stuff. But fame does come with a price. It's a steep price, but some people are willing to take that price because, with fame comes other stuff. The reason you're famous probably is worth whatever horrors come with fame. Now, you're probably wondering, Will, why are you saying all this if you're trying to make a successful YouTube channel? Don't you realize that if you get famous on YouTube, you are going to be harassed like crazy? And there's quite a few reasons, but one, you're right, I don't want to be famous myself. I don't want to be harassed. I don't really care about, the ego boost that comes with, people recognizing me. I think if you have to rely on that to boost your ego, then you're not going to live a healthy life. Let's just leave it at that. But to, YouTube stars, even the most famous ones like Daystorm, Kev Jumba, Nigahiga, Smosh, they honestly don't get recognized as much as you think. You've seen videos of people like Nigahiga with millions of subscribers walk out in like the middle of a city holding up signs, and pretty much of all the hundreds of cars that passed them, like rarely any of them like noticed him or realized who he was. So in terms of YouTube, I'm not too scared of getting that famous. In other respects, I do want to nurture my YouTube because I want to have, some sort of success, as part of my job. It's good to, be successful in something you do in work, and YouTube is something that's pretty fun. So let's just put that aside. I don't want fame. So let me explain to you why, okay? You kids out there who are watching are probably still saying, okay, you've given me a couple examples with Justin Bieber and Michael Jackson, but you haven't given me any specifics. How bad can it be? Well, let's put it like this, okay? If you've seen any of the tabloids and all the crap they say about people, you probably don't want to be famous because they are going to make up a whole bunch of lies about you that aren't true, and everyone's going to believe them. And then you're just sitting there like, it's not true, and no one believes you. And this kind of stuff does happen all the time. Other than that, imagine this. You want to go to the mall, the movies, let's say freaking Best Buy, and you try and go there, but you can't freaking even get out of your front door without being harassed by a whole bunch of people. And then when you're in line at the movies or wherever you're going, you're going to have like a whole bunch of paparazzi harassing you with questions that you don't want to answer. Because they're not going to be there and be nice to you and ask you nice questions like, how was your day? I mean, they might initially, but then like their job is there to get like juicy information from you. So they're going to ask really annoying questions constantly all day. So let's throw this aside, paparazzi, harassment. What is fame actually? Why exactly do you want to be famous? A lot of people, at school and stuff, they, at least from my perspective, they seem to want to be famous because, they want that ego boost. They want to be, recognized as someone amazing. And, they want to be, cool for all their friends. They're thinking, maybe if I become famous in the future, everyone that didn't like me will like me now, and everything will be fine. Well, do you honestly want those people who never really liked you to, all of a sudden like you one day just because you're famous? That's it, just because you're famous. That's pretty darn lame, actually. I mean, think of it this way. Let's say you have a Facebook and not a lot of people talk to you. In fact, some people choose to ignore you on purpose. Let's say, 10 years from now, you found like some ridiculous company, or you get famous some other way, like an actor or singing or something like that. Well, if they, see that on your Facebook and they message you and they're like, dude, I'm so glad you're famous now, let's hang out, blah 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 blah. Would that actually really be so great for you? No, because deep down, you know that they're only talking to you now because they know you got famous. Just because you're successful. Those people are called leechers, superficial people, and the main reason for me why this isn't that great is because those people will probably not like you again as soon as you lose your fame. I personally think it's kind of the same thing with money. So for me, and a little bit of advice for you guys, if you ever get rich, you have to not tell people you're rich and see if they like you first. Because if you tell everyone you're rich initially, they're gonna like you, and then you can't filter out who's actually liking you just because you're rich. So I don't know. I find it'd be pretty cool if Bill Gates or someone rich, or if I were to become rich one day, if I could pretend to be a poor person, and then be my true self, and then walk around and see if people would actually still like me. And the ones that did were actually, true friends. The ones that didn't would not be. So, one of my conclusions for this is you really gotta put aside money, fame, anything materialistic. Because stuff like this doesn't last forever. Same thing with beauty. You will get old eventually, and no matter how good looking a girl is or a guy is, that will fade in like 50 to 100 years, especially if they are really, really bad people inside, personality wise, annoying people, rude people, etc., etc. So in terms of fame, forget about that materialistic stuff. It will come, it will go. There are a ton of people in books, especially like Great Gatsby, and in real life, who definitely aren't so happy just because they're rich. I mean, there are people who kill themselves despite that they're rich and stuff like that. That's how sad they still are. And I mean, it makes sense. And for those of you who are like, no way, why would that why would they even do that? That you're just making it up. Well, think of it this way, if you're born into something or you get used to anything, you accept that as your standard. Whatever you were born into right now, most of you guys watching are probably from North America, so you probably live at least middle-class lives, with television, food, internet, maybe even cell phones, stuff like that. You accept that as your standard, your norm. So you're like, okay, this is average for me. Anything better than this would be great. Well, when you become rich, that will become your norm. Some people are born into richness or fame. That's your norm. Well, if you accept that as your norm, then it's just normal. It's not like rewarding to you or exceptionally happy, because that's what happens to you every single day. So, for those of you in North America, believe it or not, your norm is actually most of the world's rich. Your normal standards right now, your TV, your internet, your television, your texting system, your whatever it is, iPhone, Samsung Galaxy S3, that stuff is considered completely rich in other countries. So if you're not that happy right now with what you have now in terms of like material stuff, then that's just another example of how if you were quote-unquote rich, you wouldn't be happy. There are friggin' people in Africa who live in huts and would happily move to your side of the fence with your internet, your YouTube, your Facebook, your Twitter, your car, all the materialistic stuff you have now, and that would be considered great for them. So, moral of the story, I'm not a hater, I was born into the same freaking lifestyle, with the cars and the internet and stuff. But, moral of the story is, don't rely on fame, materialistic stuff like money, freaking cars, anything materialistic to, blind you. Because if you rely on that for happiness, it won't freaking work. A good example of this is a YouTuber. I forgot his name. He only has like 20k subs, but he's a straight up Christian. And his story is quite amazing. He said that, he used to have it all. He had money, he had clothing, girls, friends, everything, and he wasn't happy. And he said, despite all this stuff, it would only keep him happy for maybe a couple days, and then he'd sink back into his depressed state. And once he, found religion and Christianity, he was always much happier. And with that, I'm not preaching Christianity or anything like that. This is just an example for you guys. Yeah, in terms of that, he said, as a conclusion, even if God wasn't real, Christianity, made his life a lot better. So he'd be happy, even if God wasn't real. So this isn't like a preaching post or anything. The point of the message is, no, I wouldn't prefer fame. It's not something I care about in the slightest. In fact, it'd probably be kind of annoying with, random people always pestering you. I mean, who would actually care if people, liked you more if you were approached by all these strangers? That's kind of lame. You should like yourself for yourself. So that's it for that, But it'd be great if you could hit the subscribe button, because that would make my business on YouTube greater. And that's all that matters for me. If fame were to, for some reason, stumble upon me, and I couldn't avoid it, then sure, I would still deal with it. I think it would still be something that was really cool. But for all those, little kids complaining, man, I wish I was famous. Man, I wish I was this or that. It's not that great, dude. There's so much other stuff that's so much better for you to work towards, such as, creating a business that you really enjoy, or doing something amazing that you really enjoy. Because that's so much more fulfilling than just doing something for fame. Because at the end of the day, who is actually, successful, who started their journey just saying, I want to be successful because I want to be famous. Not even freaking Snooki from Jersey Shore. She signed up for the show because she wanted to have fun. So just keep that in mind. I mean, Bill Gates is another example. He did what he did not for fame, not for money. He started Microsoft because he enjoyed it. Pretty much everyone, Justin Bieber, like it or not, One Direction, they enjoy singing a lot. They're not just doing it for the fame. I would say the least common example would be probably Paris Hilton, but I mean, her parents were very successful in their line of work for the hotel. And believe it or not, she does a lot of business stuff with fashion and stuff. And she is just putting on this act, like this, kind of dumb-headed blonde girl act for the media. That's not really how dumb she is. She's actually really smart. She puts a lot into business. She has a lot of fashion businesses and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, no one who's successful actually is there to be famous, or just famous. So I hope you guys liked this video. Subscribe if you liked it. Leave a comment if it's positive. Otherwise, it's probably gonna get flagged or removed. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Subscribe.